Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hello again. Welcome to Talking Real Money Daily. I'm Don McDonald, and this is the last podcast for the week until we do the weekend show, which becomes next week's podcast, et cetera, et cetera. Thanks for listening. I'm glad you're there. The number to call if you have any questions is 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. Our website, talkingrealmoney.com. And what do we talk about on this podcast? Real money. Trying to get you educated about money, about anything that has anything to do with money, but mainly we talk about investing, except for the beginning of today's show. And today we're going to talk about financial literacy. And I don't believe that very many of you are financially literate. I really don't. Not you listening to this podcast necessarily, but you as in the rest of the planet. And the National Financial Educators Council put out an online test to test simple financial education facts. They're really basic, truly basic. Questions like, what should you research and be prepared to pay prior to moving into a rental property? What kind of expenses might you have? Is a short-term loan going to cost you less than a long-term loan? Basic. We'll get to the answers in a minute. They found that these are very basic questions, that just over half of 15 to 18-year-olds could pass the test. And another survey found that a very large percentage of young people go to their parents for money advice. And I can tell you from experience, a lot of their parents don't give good money advice. There are a lot of misconceptions about money. As a matter of fact, we've got a call in today's podcast that illustrates that in a pretty interesting way. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But what I wanted to do with you today is just go ahead and take the test with you. We're going to take the test, and then we'll get the answers at the end, okay? It's just 8 questions. So I went online and I'll have a link to the website in the podcast notes. So I went to their website. The first question I got, I put in my actual age as an old guy. So I don't know if they're geared to different ages or what. But here's the first question, and this is so easy. Oh, I hope you don't get it wrong. All right, are you ready? There are 5 answers. A, B, C, D, E. Okay? When you purchase a brand new car, A, you own an asset that is likely to appreciate in value. B, your net worth will probably decrease immediately by at least 5% of the car's purchase price. C, you will receive reduced auto insurance rates compared to older model used cars. D, you will receive lower registration rates compared to older model cars. Or E, you're not certain. You just don't have a clue. All right, we'll come back to the answer in a minute. All right? You got that? New car question. Hold on, I got to actually do this. Okay, on to the next one. The best time to shop for a car loan is at the dealership when you are purchasing the car. That's A. B, before you start searching for a car. C, once you find a car on which you want to make an offer. D, it's always best to pay cash for your car. Or E, uncertain. Okay, I'm not going to tell you my answer. You just keep yours in mind. Okay? We'll come back to the questions. How do you calculate the cost of renting a place to live in order to determine whether renting is an option for you? A, add the rent plus all of the additional expenses of renting a place to determine whether the total aligns with your personal finance objectives. Estimate the exact rent costs and cost of utilities. C, identify the exact amount of rent that is owed each month to the landlord. D, list all of the components of the rent amount you will pay to the landlord, or they always have E, uncertain. Okay. This is just way too easy. Here's the question. What should you research and be prepared to pay prior to moving into a rental property? A, current month's rent. B, last month's rent. C, security deposit. D, expenses associated with establishing utilities. E, all of the above. And we have a new one, F, uncertain. I wonder what the correct answer is. Which loan term is best if you want to reduce the total amount of money you will repay over the life of the loan? A, 3-year loan. B, 5-year loan. C, 7-year loan. D, 10-year loan. Or E, you don't have a clue. Okay, I'm moving on. What is the most important financial consideration when deciding whether to take out a college loan? A, the school you attend. B, your GPA and college testing scores. C, the return on investment you'll receive from obtaining the degree. D, whether you live on campus or off campus. Or E, uncertain. Only have 2 more to go. Loan payments are based on A, APR, B, interest rate, C, length of the loan, B and C only, or E, all of the above. Final question. If you are unable to pay off the entire balance you owe in credit card debt, the best way to pay off the balance is to A, pay more than the minimum monthly payments on all your credit cards. B, pay off the credit card with the lowest balance. C, pay the maximum your budget allows on the card with the highest interest rate. D, pay the maximum payment on the card with the highest balance. Or E, I still don't know what you people are talking about. And hold on. Oh, I hit a little button wrong. Let me just punch my answer in. And now we're going to go to see how I did. On the first question, when you purchase a brand new car, your net worth will probably decrease immediately by at least 5% of the car's purchase price. And that's being pretty generous. No, they don't appreciate. You should know that. Number 2, the best time to shop for a car loan is before you start searching for a car. Find out what you can afford, what the interest rates are. 3, how do you calculate the cost of renting a place in order to determine whether renting is an option? Add everything up. Duh. That was A. Number 4. Where was number 4? Oh, there it is. What should you research and be prepared to pay prior to moving into a rental property? All of the above. Last month's rent, current month's rent, security deposit, utility expenses. Number 5, which loan term is best if you want to reduce the total amount you will repay over the life of the loan? The shorter the loan, the less interest you'll pay. 3 years, A. Now 6 is kind of tricky. And it's one of those that you really kind of have to think about for a minute. What is the most important financial consideration? You see, you have to read that properly. What's the most important financial consideration when deciding to take out a college loan? If you're looking at it strictly from a financial basis, then the answer would be the return on the investment you'll receive from obtaining the degree. How much is that degree worth? If you're getting a degree where you can't get a job that makes any more than minimum wage, then the loan might be a really bad financial decision. Number 7, loan payments are based on APR? No. Interest? Yes. Length of loan? Yes. Correct answer D, B, and C only. And finally, if you are unable to pay off the entire balance you owe on your credit card debt, the best way to do it is to pay as much as you can on the card with the highest balance. And I got to tell you, if you didn't get at least 75% of those right, you really should be embarrassed about your financial literacy. It's no wonder you're probably in financially bad shape. 855-935-TALK is the phone number, 855-935-8255. Let's get to the call I promised. It's a short one. Here it is.
Hi, I am looking to invest in medical marijuana, and I don't know anything about it or how to do it, and I would like information if you have any helpful hints that you could help me with. Thank you.
The correct answer is no, don't do it. 1, it's not investing, it's gambling. 2, it's the wild, wild west of marijuana out there right now. The companies that are going to win probably don't even exist, particularly when you're talking about medical marijuana, because the laws are so different from state to state. Sometimes it has to be locally grown. It has to be grown right where it's distributed. There's really very little that you can invest in. And even if there were stocks that I thought had great prospects, which I don't, you'd be foolish to do it because you do not buy individual stocks as an investor. You only buy individual stocks with money you can absolutely afford to lose in its entirety. Every last red cent. So don't put your money in marijuana stocks. Do not do it. If you're very, very wealthy, you're just stinking rich, and you've got a few $1,000 laying around that's burning a hole in your pocket, and you'd blow it in Vegas or someplace, all right, go take a flyer on something. But I'm not going to tell you what it should be, because I don't believe that the companies you see today are not particularly likely to be the winners down the road. Yeah, they might get swallowed up by somebody like Altria maybe down the road when it truly becomes a national product. But right now, it's a crazy place, and I would not put any money in anything that had anything to do with marijuana. I would not do it. The risks are outrageous, and the returns are who knows. 855-935-TALK is our phone number, 855-935-8255. Visit us online at talkingrealmoney.com, where you can take our risk quiz, where you can download an advisor interview form, where you can search through a list of advisors that we believe offer you a better opportunity in the future. You can spend some time talking with a Vestory advisor, a fee-only fiduciary advisor with no fee, just a quick chat, not running your life. We will not do that for free. We will charge you for that. But there is no cost or obligation for that. There's so much stuff, and it's getting even better next week. I'm keeping my fingers crossed to make sure I can get it done. TalkingRealMoney.com, TalkingRealMoney.com, and remember, call anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 855-935-TALK. And if you want to talk with Tom and me live, well, remember to call that same number, 855-935-TALK, on Saturdays between 3 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, or noon until 2 Pacific Time. 855-935-TALK. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. I'm Don McDonald.
Talking Real Money. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately, consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestory, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. That should keep the lawyers happy.